Okay, we're back after a 3-week hiatus. Steve's been away in Croatia. We got Krista Kingston here on the podcast today.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome.
Excited to be here.
Yeah.
How was your vacation?
Oh my God. It makes you not want to come back when you're in Europe. Everything there is like, one of the things I love about Europe is and a lot of people might not know this, but they take siestas
Yes.
in Europe. Do you know about this?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, if you've ever been to Europe, like they're very relaxed in Europe. Even if you see like some high-strung areas or like in the middle of big cities and stuff, everything's way more relaxed. It's not go, go, go.
Mm-hmm.
Most people have like 7 weeks of vacation over there. But the siesta is like everything kind of like slows down or stops in the middle of the day. Everyone goes to work in the morning, and then like 1 or 2 o'clock rolls around and everyone's like,
Didn't you also go to Romania?
Yeah.
Everyone's all relaxed.
Not everyone's relaxed in Romania. That's where my wife is from.
Yeah.
But that's a different place. But it's beautiful country. A lot of people don't
That's awesome.
even know that it would be a spot to go for a beautiful vacation. But that's kind of the way they like it, I think.
But Croatia.
But Croatia. Oh my God. Croatia reminded me a lot of Italy.
Okay.
It's on the Adriatic Sea, and it's gorgeous. Like it's seaside
It looked amazing from your
towns
photos.
and
Oh my gosh.
mountains and beautiful crystal clear waters, and the food is amazing. And I was actually really surprised at like the infrastructure and how well maintained everything was. And maybe that's just because I was coming from Romania. Like we went to Romania first. We went to Romania first, and Romania was like you're driving in Romania and it's like you just hope you don't die.
Oh,
like
good.
and I'm driving like a Romanian car called a Dacia, and it's just terrible. And so you're driving around on these highways going like 150 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
Like,
So when I went to Croatia for my honeymoon with my wife, we went on a tour for 2 hours into like this waterfall area that Steve had gone to.
Okay.
But we took a tour bus and Steve took a car, and on the tour bus, they told us, we can't stop. If anyone needs to use the washroom, you have to stop before, because we can't pull over because there was like a Croatian war of independence or something that had happened, and they were at war for a long time. And there was active mines in the fields outside, and he's driving in a car with his wife, and little does he know there's active minefields probably. So as we're talking, I'm like Googling up minefields in Croatia and where they are suspected to be. So
it's like
it's like the whole route that I took.
There's that they're split. So
oh my God, that's amazing.
They were split, and you went outside split to those waterfalls.
Yeah.
Which
is basically Šibenik right there.
So these are all active minefields still.
Perfect.
Well, it's funny.
Oh
That reminds one of the last nights that we were there. we picked this.
That was 2006. Maybe it's old.
Maybe some people have died and some of those mines are gone now.
I hope not.
Well, this is 2014.
We were still there.
Who goes looking for them?
We picked a restaurant way up in the hills. Like we stayed just outside Split, and you're on like the edge of a mountain basically. And we picked this restaurant, and we were like, oh, it's gonna be beautiful views and everything. And then so you're like, okay, well, how do we get there? You put it into the GPS, and it's like Google Maps was like, oh, you just go this way.
Simple as
and
that.
it was like the craziest road I've ever driven on. Like there was like 60-degree inclines on, and it just like the pavement ended like 5 minutes into this drive, and it was just dirt, grass, tracks going up this mountain, hairpin turning all the way up this mountain. And so when you told me about the mines, I'm just thinking, like imagine I'm just driving along this dirt.
Sides of the cliff blow off.
Yeah, it was.
And then
funny.
he told me this story the other day when he got back. Tell him what happened when you got up to the top and you're like,
yeah. So we get to the top, and like I'm just like a ball of stress now. I'm like,
yeah.
And we get there, and the whole time in dinner, all I'm thinking is like, it's getting dark, and I gotta drive back down that road. And so as we were leaving, we asked the server at the restaurant, we're like, how does everyone up here look so relaxed? Like, how does everyone get up here? And he's like, what do you mean? And we're like, well, we literally put the address in the GPS and the crazy road that we had to take, and he's like, show me. So I show him on the thing, and he's like, oh my God, no, no. And he's like, just go this way, and it's paved the whole way. Like, damn you, Google Maps. Why? Why would you take me that way?
That's hilarious. Good to talk to
I
the
didn't
locals,
die.
though. At least you know.
I didn't die. We didn't die. We didn't get
That's
blown
good.
up by a mine. We didn't fall off a mountain, so we're good.
That's usually how the best stories start, though. Like, honestly,
I'm glad that we have the story.
Yeah. I climbed Mount Vesuvius when I went to Europe, and we started going up, and halfway through they stopped allowing other visitors from climbing the mountain, but we were already halfway up. So we continued to go up, and then when we had to come back down, it was getting like really crazy. Like, it was windy. Like, I don't know what exactly type of storm it was, but it was serious, like enough for them to close the tourist attraction. So on our way back down, no joke, we were flying down this mountain because it's all gravel and the wind was pushing us. So you'd be sliding, like skidding down the mountain. And there was times when people were falling and stuff, and like we all thought we were gonna die.
Isn't Vesuvius the mountain that like
the one
erupted
that covered Pompeii?
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow,
that
that's
one.
crazy.
So yeah, but we lived, so it's a good story now.
And when we were in Croatia, we were going from Split to Hvar, I think, and we were waiting at like the pier, and these black clouds are like coming down over the mountains, and we get into one of those catamarans. We're inside the walls, and we get out into the Adriatic, and waves are just smashing the side. The captain comes down, he's like, everybody in your seats. But there was people lined up to the bathrooms, but the bathroom, one like selfish person just locked the door and threw up in the bathroom the entire time.
Yeah.
But they like claimed it for themselves and just got seasick in it the whole time. So everybody that was lined up down the boat were just throwing up on the floors, and the boat's like rocking right to left.
Sounds like my worst nightmare.
Oh my God!
It wasn't
I don't.
that rough none of the days we went out.
I could feel the stomach drop feeling just from the going up the waves and down the waves, and I don't think Chelsea opened her eyes the entire time. And we're eating gravel like it's M&Ms in the back. And then we would stop at like a pier to pick more people up before we got. And we're like, you guys have no idea what you're about to get into. And I think for about a day we were just nauseous, and the world was spinning, and we had to like sleep it off. It was crazy.
It's a cool
Sounds
place
awful.
though. Like
That's
cool place. Don't listen to what
Your
he
death
said.
experience
Yeah,
aside,
you're
it's,
probably not gonna get blown up by a mine. You're probably not gonna throw up all over the sea. You're probably gonna be fine.
It is cool. You have to check out Dubrovnik.
Yeah, we didn't have time. That was in our original plan was to go to Dubrovnik.
It's pretty cool. It's very similar to all the other places. Like if you've seen Split, you've kind of seen Dubrovnik, but Dubrovnik's got like the whole city enclosed,
Yeah.
and the Game of Thrones stuff is cool if you ever watched Game of Thrones.
Yeah, well, there was a couple Game of Thrones locations in Split actually.
Are there?
In Old Town in Split, yeah. There's like a castle fortress in the middle of the city, and you go underneath it.
How cool is that?
That's where
The tunnels are?
Daenerys kept her dragons. If you watch Game of Thrones, so yeah, it's kind of cool. You get
I
to see
liked when you go down and you're going through those chambers, and then you like reach like a garden in a chamber and stuff. Like it was cool.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Yeah, it's a cool country. Great people. Just the best days were the unplanned days where you just kind of. We just drove and we'd be like, we want to find a beach, and we would just go to like a random town that was on the sea and go find a little bar on the edge of the sea, and those were the best because you're out of the tourist trap areas. You're kind of
living like more like authentically local,
not really
kind of,
authentically, I guess, because it's
Okay.
still close enough to the touristy stuff. Like we didn't drive hours and hours out of the way, but I mean Europe in general just is a different world. I love it there. Like it's just every time I go, I wish that I could stay.
Yeah.
You know, not saying that coming back here is a bad thing. Home is always a great place to be.
You picked a good time. It was
Yes.
pretty slow while you were away. The market was slower, but now it's starting to pick up.
Yeah, a lot of people are probably wondering about that because the way that things were trending through the summer, and it's a typical way things trend in the years, is that the summer slows down. People start to plan vacations and get away, and then back to school sneaks up on everybody, and that takes up everybody's mental capacity.
I find the two slowest times a year around Christmas and Labor Day. Those two. End of summer, especially this year, I think it was like emphasized more because everyone was trying to get the hell out of town due to COVID. And we were saying all through the spring, try and get your listings on during the spring. We expect this summer to slow down once people get their freedoms back. And then it slows down in the summer, and we're all like, why is it
What's
so
going
slow? And we're like,
on?
we've
Yeah.
been preaching this for months. But it is slowly starting to pick up again going into the fall now, which we did expect. But we were just talking before the podcast. You also came back to a Canadian election during a pandemic.
I voted.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Good for you.
I always
good.
do. But yeah, that's a big topic of discussion that we won't get too heavily into. We like to try to keep things more even keel.
We don't need to get into what political views we have, but now that the Liberals are in, we can talk about the things that are expected to maybe come onto the Liberal agenda. And one of those things is, and we were talking about this before as well, is they're thinking about getting rid of the blind bidding and bringing in open bidding. And I know this is a very touchy subject because a lot of people that are outside the industry think this would be a great thing. And I can see the debate on both sides, but I do worry and I proceed with caution a little bit on the open bidding, because I think that's going to open up another can of worms as well.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to have a easy discussion about.
Yeah,
it's a really heated topic for a lot of people, and I guess we mentioned this before too today, is a lot of the vocal proponents out there of something like open bidding and a lot of other things that have been discussed in real estate are obviously first time home buyers, people that haven't had the chance to get into the market yet, and that's who's really hurting, I think, as we watch these prices go up and up and up, and the economy is kind of getting away from them. So they're kind of clinging on to, I think, anything that they think is going to help them get into the market. The problem is, most of the things, if not almost all of the things that have been discussed at the political level, are Band-Aid fixes. These aren't things that are going to, on a wide level, curb this price increase that we're seeing. That is a product of supply and demand.
It's all supply and demand, and government intervention very rarely will work.
Right.
It's one thing if the Bank of Canada or they want to come in and help with interest rates to help get people back on their feet if the market were to go in a downward trajectory. But to stop the blind bidding, it's just all supply and demand. And like one of the things is they want to try and talk about putting capital gains tax on primary residence. Well, the majority of homes owned in Canada are owned by the baby boomer generation, and they own a lot of these homes, and a lot of these baby boomers are retiring and are already retired. If you start taxing their primary residence, a lot of them are going to stay put and say, screw this, I'm not selling. And if that happens, now we have even less houses, which is actually going to do the reverse effect and not help us. The other thing is with the blind bidding, for people that don't know how the market's working, is right now it's basically a blind auction. You come to the table without knowing what the other offers are. You know how many offers are on the table, but you don't know what the other offers are. But the nice thing about that is, without seeing what the other numbers are, you can do your own homework with your own agent, who should be doing the proper homework to be able to show you exactly what this home should be selling around. You should not be caring about what the other's offers are. You should be coming in with what you're comfortable spending, on what you believe the home to be worth. And that's what I like about the blind bidding. And I understand there's people that push the envelope and win, but could you imagine if everybody got to see each other's offers? Now all those people who can push the envelope are just going to keep bullying the people that are first-time homebuyers. First-time homebuyers don't have big pocketbooks to continue to one-up other people. You have an investor from Toronto come in, like you were saying, Steve. If a first-time homebuyer has a small budget, that Toronto investor is just going to keep one-upping them until they win, and now the first-time homebuyers are going to be hurt. At
least the way it works now is, everybody's on this even playing field. Everybody's got the ability to go out with, a professional and view the home and look at all the comparables in the area and come up with a game plan and then put that game plan into effect. Whether you're an investor with a deep pocket or you're a first-time home buyer, you still both have to make the same decision, right? And it's not about who's going to go in and throw, hundreds of thousands of dollars more than the actual home's worth. And that's the misconception that we're getting here, is people who don't really know that much about the way this works. Is the misconception is that if someone's paying $200,000 over the asking price, that somebody is paying $200,000 more than they should
than
for
what
the
it's
house.
worth. Exactly.
That's not the case, and we've had a million discussions on that previously to this. But ultimately, the job is to go out and find out what the market says the house is worth, not what the seller's listing the home for. That's the misconception that's happening a lot out there now, and it's causing a lot of grief for people, and it's just misinformation.
Yeah, we've talked about this in the past. The old market, where you listed something a little higher than what it was worth, what all our parents are used to, and anybody who purchased about 10 years ago, was just as dangerous. You just didn't know it. So if, let's say you had a house that was worth $400,000, in the old strategies that were used when the market was less busy or less competitive, a $400,000 house may have been listed for $429,900 or $449,900 to allow room to negotiate the price down. So your agent still had to do a job to figure out on what the house was worth to know what to negotiate it down to. But if the price was only negotiated down to $420,000, you'd be like, oh, that's awesome. I saved $10,000. My agent's the best. Go tell my friends I got $10,000 off the price. It feels good. Social media wasn't a thing at that time. Nobody was going on social media saying, I just sold my house for $10,000 under list price. Nobody was bragging about that. So everybody just felt good about the deal. And little did that person know they still paid $20,000 more than it was worth. But today, a $400,000 home is being listed for $249,000 or $229,000. So if they have to go $100,000 over, that doesn't necessarily mean they're overpaying. So if I took you to a home tomorrow and said I can get you $430,000 to $400,000, or if I took you to the same home tomorrow, it was at $299,000 and I said you had to get $400,000. In the end, the home is still worth $400,000. It's just about the homework and the way you're perceiving it on the actual list price. So I do think that there's a lot of misconception out there. I do think that it's going to be very frustrating for first-time home buyers if there's open bidding and their budget's $400,000 and they say, okay, I'm going to give it my best, $400,000, and that investor who would have blind bid maybe $395,000 says, oh, they're at $400,000. No, I'm going to go to $402,000. And then the first time
that the first-time buyers are capped,
the first-time home buyer can't go over $400,000.
It becomes an auction, right? And then how long until we start seeing more houses listed for $1, like you showed us today? And I've seen it happen a couple times in Toronto, where now it's just, okay, we're listing this for $1. Go do your homework.
Go ahead.
Go figure out what the area supports for price and what you think this house is worth compared to other houses that have sold in the area, and then bring your offers, right? I mean, things may change and evolve over time, but there's these misconceptions that people run with. And I mean, I the reason I wanted to talk about this today was because I read an opinion piece in the Windsor Star this morning that was, in my opinion, what's causing these prices to go crazy is the blind bidding, and that's such a misinformed opinion that unfortunately people read in the Windsor Star, and a lot of people take it as fact and as news, and there isn't really a lot to support that. What we need to really understand is, and let's dumb this down a little bit for people just to clear the air here, we're in a seller's market. We're in a seller's market. A seller's market means that there is very, very, very little supply of homes on the market compared to the amount of buyers and the amount of demand that is out there for these homes. So on every home, we're getting multiple offers, right? And ultimately they're selling for more than they're asking, but that's also a strategy that's used in the seller's market. That's really, it's supply and demand. That's all it is.
That's what it comes down to. That's why,
right.
Exactly.
And I understand both have things about them. And I know, like blind bidding, yes, it's possible that somebody could be winning by 30 or 40 grand more than they should. Right. But they need to be doing their proper homework, and they need to not get out of hand. The same way as if it was open bidding, people get caught up in the adrenaline rush of an auction style.
Just a little more, just a little more, just a little more. Like, well, and I think that's going to get crazier eventually.
Right. If you're in an auction style bid, people keep one-upping each other, and they get hyped up in that, and they don't realize, they're overpaying at that point. So it doesn't feel like it because they didn't go 30 over the second place person.
And at least they were able to see it, I guess.
But they kept going 1. Even though they weren't 30,000 above, they still overpaid. So both have their pros and cons. I understand the frustration that everybody has with this market, but it's nothing more than supply and demand. Everybody wants to point the agents at the realtors. Everyone wants to point the finger at the investors, the GTAers, the banks, all the way down to inspectors, everybody. Yeah. But in the end, it's just we have a lot of people and not as many houses. and we have to deal with it one way or the other. But no matter which way we go about this, there's still going to be something in this process that's not great.
And truthfully, even with the blind bids now, if someone is paying, 30, 40 over the next lowest bid, that was the decision they made. Maybe in their mind that house is worth that.
Well, okay,
more, right?
and that touches on another thing where houses don't just simply have objective value.
Exactly.
Houses are a very emotional purchase, and houses have a lot of subjective value to the individual. You don't always know why somebody might be paying $30,000 or $40,000 over everyone else. Maybe mom and dad live down the street.
Exactly, and I always give that example.
Right.
Like when some house goes through something crazy.
Those are considered the not arm's length transactions. But when you're looking at comparables and you're doing all you can do,
you can't see that stuff.
You can't see that stuff, and you don't know, right? So it's a really fickle thing. It's an open market. It's a free market, right? These are people's private properties, basically, that they're able to sell how they want to sell them. And when you just use simple economics and you look at supply and demand the way it is, that's what's causing this.
It makes sense,
Right. And look, the government, is continuing to bring in 400,000 new people to the country, immigrants to the country every year. If we don't have the new builds and the areas and the things to support this influx of people coming in, it's just going to continue to get worse. It doesn't matter what policies you change. It doesn't matter the little Band-Aid fixes that you use. That's just going to continue.
Because it still just comes down to the fact that there's too many people and not enough houses. Yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
So we're not trying to trivialize the issue at all, because it is a complex issue, and it is an issue for affordability for people trying to get into the market. But the only way, in my opinion, that you can change this for the better and make this better is you need to find a way to address the supply issue that we have, because taxing somebody's capital gains on their personal residence or changing the way bidding is done isn't going to do it. It's just going to skew things in the favor of people who have the means to pay more and do more, right? I don't know.
It's not helping our first-time homebuyers.
No, it's not.
Looking at an article here from Global News, and it's titled "How to Tame the Housing Wars: Why Open Bidding May Not Work."
I think that was the article that I saw. And
it talks about how open bidding is the way it's already and always has been done in Australia. And it says, while the country's process has been praised for its transparency, it's unclear whether selling homes at auction would do much to temper the impact of bidding wars on prices, and that Australia's home prices went up 11%. Just in May of this year compared to May of last year. So they're also up 11% in Australia, and they're using this strategy of open style bidding, and they're saying it basically isn't really changing. It's going to be very similar, but the only thing is, like you said, I think it's going to skew the favor in the direction of somebody with deeper pockets, which usually is not your first time home buyer.
And it may be investors, or think about this too. It's the number of people who already own homes that have an insane amount of equity in their home that they can use towards the purchase of their next home.
Or even multiple people going together to buy a home. Like there's so many different situations,
first time home buyers are going to have to get a little bit more creative, I think, going forward. We're going to have to talk to them more about co-signers and whether or not their family can help them with a down payment. Maybe they go in on it with a buddy or a friend or something, just getting themselves into the market. You might not get into your dream home as your first home. That's I think a generation of people, I'm included in this generation, even though I'm an old guy now. I'm still considered a millennial, although I consider myself an elder millennial. But honestly, like it's this consumer attitude. It's this, we're all used to going like, oh, the new iPhone came out, I'm gonna go buy the new iPhone now. Oh, I want a brand new car, I'm gonna buy a new car, I'm gonna leverage myself to the hilt. And I think that's kind of leaching its way into people's minds with homes as well. It's like, oh, I see my buddies, they're all living in a nice 4-bedroom 3-bathroom house, I want a 4-bedroom 3-bathroom house. Oh my god, it's $1 million, this is crazy. And then that sparks all these debates. And it's like, but there are options out there to get into the market that aren't going to be your ideal, right? But that's the way you have to start. Start building equity in something. Buy a condo, buy a fixer-upper, buy something that needs work, put some money into it, live there for some years, gain your equity, enjoy in the gains of the.
All of our first time buyers that purchase houses that need a little more TLC seem to make more money than the ones who buy the people come in with the rose colored glasses and they go into the HGTV staged home. They're like, oh my God. And then they're competing with 20 people and pay a lot more than they should. And then in 3 years when they go to sell, because the average first time buyer is only going to live 3-5 years in that home, they're going to go sell that home and be pretty upset when they realize they're not making as much as their buddy who bought the house that was grandma's house for 50 years, and they went in and painted the walls and took out the carpets, and you moved into a home like that, and you're renovating it, but you got it for a much lesser price, and the amount of money you've put into it is far less than what you're going to make.
Exactly.
And you're going to come out a lot further ahead than the neighbor down the street that paid for it to be all done.
Exactly.
I would rather you pay to do the work and be paid for the work you did rather than pay somebody else for the work they've done.
Exactly. And that's the exact same situation I give to all my clients. I say the exact same thing. And it's so funny. Like, everyone's first reaction is, oh, I don't want to live in a dump. And it's like, well, you don't need to live in a dump. There's happy mediums, right? Like, and that's what this is all about, is finding the level of work you're comfortable with, but also having ultimately the goal of what's going to make you happy and what's going to help you grow with the market. So that's like my favorite type of home, is like an old person's house.
I mean, assuming it doesn't have structural issues and furnace,
of course.
AC, roof, everything, like, it's more the cosmetic. Like, if we can go and put some lipstick on the home and clean it up and make it look good enough, you also need to make it just look good enough. You don't have to, if you're only going to live there 3 to 5 years, as long as it's livable and something that you're happy with and it's not falling over and you're maintaining the integrity of the home. A lot of people think they got to go in and rip walls down and they have to replace every floor. There's a lot of things you can do for a lot cheaper. Like, paint the cabinets, replace the handles, put a backsplash, maybe a countertop. You don't have to rip the whole kitchen out. I mean,
and even myself, like, again, we were saying, like, I moved into an older home, and there's quick fixes too. Like, I had a terrible, like, yellowy orange tile when we first walked into our house.
You did not get rid of.
Oh, I did. I just took it out finally, but we painted it.
I love that yard.
Yeah, but first thing we did was we painted it, because at least it was a quick fix and we could live with it that way. And now, like, we've lived in the house 2 years and we're ready to do bigger projects, so now we've ripped it out. But
you did not get rid of the green carpet.
We did. Oh, we have like a lovely green linoleum that's showing now that we've taken up the kitchen floor.
One room. You should have take all those materials and put them into just one room of the house and just had that be like your like.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought about like keeping little pieces of things and like framing them, just because like it's like a time capsule.
When I was renovating Hickory, we found 1948 newspapers from the Windsor Star, and we cut out the real estate ads in it and turned them into coasters.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. I found like a super old hockey card in the baseboards of one of the bedrooms. It was like from 72 or something.
Google that.
Pretty cool.
Google
I did.
that.
It wasn't
I
worth
saw an article online.
Cool.
I saw an article
Shitty
online
player.
the other day. Someone was renovating their house and they ripped open the wall and there was a doll in the wall holding a note that said, "I killed everybody in this house."
Oh my god. Did it laugh like that?
Yeah, probably.
well, and we're doing renovations, so we have like different walls kind of open and stuff, and we have one spot where there's like just a perfect little hole, and we're gonna stick a newspaper in it, just because why not?
Yeah.
It's like a little time capsule.
Or the guys that previously owned a house that in the bathroom behind the wall it said like we're the Changs and this is 1987. It's like, what's wrong with the way we did this bathroom?
I saw that too.
It's cute stuff that you can do.
I know people have like left a beer for the next person who's doing a renovation, like a beer on me.
Oh my gosh, that's good.
Yeah. That's really I wouldn't try that beer though.
Yeah.
Depending how old it was.
No.
Not good.
I'm gonna tangent off a little bit because Krista, a lot of people don't know as well just because you're coming up on your first year next month. She's only but
made it almost.
But Krista's been behind the scenes for 2 years before that. About
I think I'm almost 3 years. Yeah.
So 3 years.
Yeah,
so
3 years
two years prior, and then one as an
Integral
agent.
part of this team.
So Krista helped build this team when we first moved to Walkerville and built the team, but she was behind the scenes, got licensed, and now is part of the team. Coming up on your first year, do you regret it?
The $1 million question. No, definitely not. It's been such a rewarding, crazy year. It's been an absolute whirlwind, and I just feel like I won the lottery by getting to know this guy, and it all worked out okay in the end, I guess. But it's been crazy. There's
You hit your goal last week?
Yeah.
Or yesterday.
Yesterday. Yeah, which is something that I honestly did not think I would do. So, yeah, it's been a crazy year. It's been a huge learning experience. There's been a lot of ups and downs, but yeah.
I don't think that stops.
No, and you know what the good news is, every time I run into a hiccup and I think it's the end of the world and I call Joe like, what do I do? It's a learning experience, and then next time that comes up, I know I don't have to panic and call Joe. So you're welcome. I'm learning.
Well, the thing is, there's always going to be someone to call. There's always going to be someone that's gone through that experience. This job and this business is never going to stop surprising us.
You'll just get better at it.
That's the thing. 15 years
roll
down
the punches
road,
a little better.
We're still gonna end up being like, oh my god, I haven't seen this before. Like, it's gonna happen. Right? And if you talk to some of these realtors that have been in the business for 30 years, they still say the same thing.
Yeah, you're a hockey player. You're still getting hit into the boards every single time you're out there. You're still getting a stick to the face. You just get better at taking it.
Yeah, that's true.
Every time your phone rings, you have a mini heart attack.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Every time it's, you're dealing with a fresh new problem. And but that's the name of the business.
That's true. And I mean, that's the greatest thing about having a team is that, even if you don't know the answer, because you do know most answers, but maybe Steve just dealt with something like that, and you're like, hey, give Steve a call. So it's great, because I feel like that's the nicest thing about the team is
even
that
Zach.
There's so many.
Even Zach, who's our newest agent, 20 years old, kid's full of knowledge. I lean on him for some questions sometimes.
Exactly, I was just gonna say
he's
Zach,
out there in the trenches.
Zach and I we kind of are a good partnership. We bounce a lot of ideas off each other, and it's been a great relationship that we've kind of built, because we both kind of have similar schedules where we're kind of, running around and things are crazy, and, we're both kind of newer in this and trying to figure it out still. So it's nice to have someone else that we can kind of like confide in and kind of, bounce ideas off of each other. And it's been great to have him around, because I feel like I'm not so like.
What's been your favorite thing so far? Like one of your favorite things about the job? I
think just like, honestly, like, it sounds so tacky, but like meeting people, like I'm a people person. Obviously, I like to talk.
Viewing homes, it's interesting. It's always different.
And I mean, I have like I think my love for like vintage or like kind of older, unique things has grown even more with this whole experience. But that's like one thing that I like love doing is I love going through a house and seeing those houses that are like a time capsule, where they have like the crazy shag carpet and 3D wallpaper and crazy tiles in the backyard.
What did you go to school for?
I went to school for fashion design.
Yeah, so you've got that design mentality, right?
Yeah. So it's cool to see.
I mean, she's repping my hoodie today.
Yeah.
I was going to. It was too hot.
It was too
hot. It's freezing today.
No,
like
it's
fall.
not. I'm from Saskatchewan. I'm like the coldest.
I have like 4 or 5 of those hoodies, and they're all in the wash right now because I wear them religiously. They're comfy. They're really
comfy. I'm wearing my Realtors for life. It's not the real one.
Oh, it's the Realtors. Just shameless self-promotion all the time.
It's true.
I'm gonna start just.
I want a hat. We need to make hats.
We got them coming. Hats are coming. Yeah.
And me and Jill were talking about a T-shirt the other day.
I think
T-shirt design.
A tattoo on all our foreheads would be really cool.
That's a great idea. Perfect.
For anybody looking to get into this business, what was like the biggest thing? Is it harder than you thought? Is it in like what would you say? Like a lot of
the
people
answer to that is yes.
Yes. Yeah. It's funny because I think one of the biggest surprises that I had was I thought it was like you work so hard to sell the house, and then once you sell the house, you're like, okay, done, did it, woo. That would go against our slogan. Yeah,
that would go against our.
No, but not even that. I mean,
your
just
realtors for this transaction.
Yeah. No, I just mean more or less from the point of the house is sold to closing. There's a lot more things that go between that time period that I think when you look at what a realtor does on paper, you just assume that all you do is run around and look at houses, write offers, and then you're done. But there's a lot more little details that go into the between the sale and closing. That was a big surprise to me. And then like I guess the only other thing is just balancing everything. It's one of those things. Flexibility is a curse and a blessing at the same time, because
I would agree. I think everybody gets in this business thinking it's like freedom. I can call my shots on my own schedule. Oh no. You are a slave to your phone, and you work for everybody around their schedule, and that is also what makes the working on the team great, because we all can work together to give ourselves some free time. But like a solo agent, you're never on vacation. You're never off on a weekend. You're never off. You're 24/7. We do have ability to give each other some freedom, but that I think is a big
misconception
that people think they can just come in and it's like this free job, but it's
and
hard.
Truthfully, if you can give yourself those days. Like, let's say,
but then you feel guilty.
Exactly. I was gonna say that's the side of it you don't even think about, is that in the back of your mind you're going, oh, I need to text that person. Oh, I need to call this person. Oh, I should really reach out to so and so. I haven't talked to them in a week, and it is hard to fully take a day off or a weekend off, because your brain is kind of always thinking about those things, or you forget for a half a second and then your phone rings and you're reminded again. So it's one of those things. There's a lot of flexibility in the job, but at the same time it is obviously demanding, and you kind of have to work with what's going to be best for your clients, because you don't want to say no and then maybe that was their golden opportunity, right? Like, that's the burden that you take on by exactly.
And one of the ways that we can really sell our services to people is to be able to say, look, if I'm not available for whatever reason, there are 5 other agents on this team that are going to be able to get you into that house or to take you to this walkthrough.
It would be pretty rare occurrence that we didn't have anyone available. Yeah.
Right. And the nice thing too, like, about our team is I have full confidence that if I have to reach out to anyone on my team to take them through the house, I know they're going to be taken care of with the same kind
very
of
like-minded. Yeah. And we've and I think Joe's done a really good job of sort of tailoring the personalities in this team to mesh, right? We don't just have a couple outliers that just don't get along, that don't want to hang out, that don't want to work together. We all have a very like-minded attitude, and that is brand recognition really for other people. Like, if I know if you have to go show one of my clients a home because I'm busy, that you're going to give them the same run through of a home, and you're going to give them the same service that I would.
We'll see on social media someone say, hey, does anyone know a realtor? And there'll be lots of recommendations, but it's like a blessing to see our team come up 10, 13 times, and it's not just go see Joe, go see Joe, go see Joe. It's like, go see the Joe Conlon real estate team. Jill was amazing. Krista was amazing. Steve and Zach helped me with it. It's all over the map, and everybody doesn't look at it like one entity. Everybody knows we're a unit, we're a group. It's awesome.
I've seen a rise in teams a lot lately in the real estate world, and
I get it. It's a lonely business.
Well,
it's a lonely business.
It is a lonely business, and I didn't start that long before you, Krista. I've been in the business 3.5 years now. But it's a lonely business when you start on your own. I don't think you went through that really, right? Because you had
I was lucky.
You were part of the team, but even the first almost year that I was in this on my own, it's you're struggling for answers a lot of the time and what to do and how to balance everything, and teams just kind of help with everything, and I think clients are the ones that benefit from that. It's not just it's not just us, not just like, I get some free time
not
back.
Even just a buyer, a listing. Hey, I like your house on whatever street. Can I go see it tonight at 6? If I'm a solo agent, I already have appointments. I'm either scrambling or trying to inconvenience another client to move that to make it work, or I got to hold them off. But I can now say, I'm on a meeting tonight at 6 at that time, but let me call one of my other 5 or 6 agents and we'll get somebody in. And almost every time that's going to happen.
Well, and even like, how many times have I come into the office and been like, oh my gosh, this just happened. What do I do? And everyone's here and they're like, oh, do this, do this, do this. And all of a sudden I'm able to like throw something together because I have everyone's feedback. Whereas on my own, I'd be like, better like, come up with one solution maybe.
It's pretty rare you run into an issue that not one of us has had that issue before and knows how to take care of it. And it's not even that, because I mean, if you're a solo agent, you have an issue, you can always lean on the management at that brokerage or whatever.
But it is nice to have a conversation and have it be a little bit more casual and not so like, gotta go like bring this up to somebody, right? Like, it's nice to just have like a more casual, candid conversation about it. And
I found when I worked as a solo and I had agents knock on the door and come in and ask how I was doing and how the business was, a lot of the questions were actually just selfishly asked because they wanted information from you. They wanted to extract things from you. They wanted to get information from you. It wasn't really truly caring.
Maybe not even consciously.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, from what I remember,
they're sizing each other up.
Yeah, like, it's one of the things that was really hard when you're first starting, being in an office in one of the main branches, was just hearing the success go on around you.
It's kind of
and it's part of it's discouraging. The other part of it is it lights a fire under you to try to get there and hustle. And I think that's the whole reason I ended up on the team was because of how much I was hustling around that office. But it's tough. I mean, but again, we're more client focused, and it's all about how can we give the best service to these clients, and that's by having the team that we have. And now there's, you know, like there's 10 of us on the team, including our assistants and our office manager. And, you know, with that team comes just this level of care and service that I know for a fact I could not provide on my own. I just know that. It's inherent.
There's a lot. Sorry, Krista. It's a lot of people get into this business and they're drooling and they just want money and they want to make money and they think that's what it is. Honestly, if that's the mindset, it's never going to work.
Yeah, it's so
if
true.
you come in, it's your reputation, client care, the way you treat them, the way you continue to treat them. If you take care of your clients like family and treat them like family, and you continue to do that forever, not just for the transaction, and you continue to service your clients. For any agents that are listening and you want to know how to do it, just give a shit. Like, I truly think, and this goes to any business, like look at any successful business, it's all down to true give a shit customer service, not like fake phony customer service, like, hey, how you doing? Oh, you had a baby? Here's this, here's that. Like going there, hugging your clients, congratulating them, popping champagne with them, like that true like experience.
And truly care. Like, don't do this stuff for show. You know, there's a lot of people out there who in any endeavor in life, it's phony, and you can you can typically spot it. It's just truly care. And I think you should only be in this business as an agent, as a realtor, if you care. And that's, you know,
you're going to lose a lot of deals if you care, but that's good. That's a good thing. That's the person that's going to say, shit, like that guy just told me not to buy a house. That guy just told me he told me to wait 6 months. That guy told me not to, stay where you're at. I mean, you and I met with a couple at a condo not too long ago, and they were ready to sell and buy. And Krista and I came back and said, I don't think that's wise. Yeah. I think what you're looking for, you already have, and we let a deal walk away. But that person now, when they know, they're going to be like, oh my God, these people aren't looking for, they're just looking to help each other out. And you'll be surprised how much fourfold that comes back to you.
And even those people, like, we even went as far as, like, we met with them twice, right? And then, like, I showed them a couple properties, but every property they saw, they were comparing it to what they had.
And you're looking at what they want. You're like, you have
like, it doesn't make sense. But yeah, so we kind of, like, talked, and we kind of just said, like, you know what? Like, truthfully, you might be happier where you are. So
for now.
Yeah, for now, exactly. For now. And if you need us, you know,
and
where to find us.
And if your circumstances change in the future, you know, if your budget gets bigger, if you get a new job and your budget goes up, and then we can talk. I mean, you're already in the market. If they already owned a place, they're going to grow with the market.
Show the extra 10 houses. Educate your client. Do the proper job. And you're going to get 10 more clients.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't, and you rush your client, you push them, and they go into something they're unhappy with, you're not getting that phone call back. No. You're not getting that referral. That's the end of the line, and you're going into a short fuse, lonely business. And I think everyone on the team sees that. I think that's why we work well together. I think we've all kind of fed off each other in that same way, and I think that's what's allowing us to grow and have a really good culture and brand in this city, and it's growing, and the way our trajectory is going, I think we're going to continue to be successful. And no braggadocious rights. I'm bragging at the fact that we're being successful because we actually care about our clients, and I take a lot of pride in that. I'm like, good. Like I'm glad to say we have a very successful team because we actually service our clients properly.
And I was gonna say, like, even the fact that it's not only the team, but we have people working behind the scenes too, like
that are amazing.
That we have,
all of them.
We have 3 amazing assistants and
4 now.
Sorry, and I haven't met her yet.
She's in the background.
Oh, okay, I'll say hi. But yeah, so 4 assistants, and they're taking care of a lot of these things behind the scenes. Like, if I don't have time to go buy a gift for my client, I can say to the assistants, hey, do you mind, picking something up and dropping it off at their house? And that does go such a long way, because it's like, no, my thought is there and I really want to do it, but unfortunately I'm busy with,
and that's going to what you were saying.
So
you were saying, you would curl up in a ball and cry if you had to think of all the things that we built. I would, like, if I went back to solo, I know all the things I should be doing, but I just wouldn't be able to, especially with a family and a wife.
To do it.
The thing, as your database gets bigger, because you've helped more clients along the way, and
more
and
challenging
now
to
I'm not
manage.
only 3 years into the business. Say I'm 10 years into the business,
Mm-hmm.
and now I've got all these past clients that
Mm-hmm.
I want to continue this relationship with because we're your realtor for life.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
that's the tagline's not just a fancy tagline. It's like I want you to know that I'm still here.